Johannesburg is facing a water crisis, and in the midst of this emergency, a 263 million rand tender has been awarded to two little-known companies run by entrepreneurs barely out of their 20s. Newtonox and BuiltPro Construction, the firms behind this controversial deal, are raising more questions than answers. Allegations of fake addresses, collusion, and irregularities have thrown the legitimacy of this contract into the spotlight, leaving many wondering, how did this happen? Join us as we uncover the truth behind this high-stakes tender, its potential impact on Johannesburg's water supply, and what it reveals about the state of municipal governance in South Africa. Newtonox and BuiltPro Construction have been contracted to provide Johannesburg with 70 water tankers over the next 3 years. This allocation includes 14 tankers for Randburg, 8 for Midrand, 5 for Marlborough-Sandton, 12 for Soweto, 25 for Ennerdale, and 3 for Johannesburg Central. The contract also permits the city to order additional tankers if water shortages worsen. However, investigations revealed serious concerns that were seemingly ignored by Johannesburg Water. These include evidence of potential price manipulation, signs of collusion and fronting, and the fact that, until recently, both companies listed the same address in the upscale waterfall estate. Newtonox, one of the companies awarded half of a 263 million rands tender, remains elusive. Despite being tasked with the critical role of supplying water to areas like Soweto, Ennerdale, and Johannesburg Central, the company lacks a website, offering no details about its services, past projects, or clients, an unusual absence for a firm managing such a vital contract. Officially, Newtonox is registered at One Country Estate Drive in Waterfall Estate, Midrand. However, when investigators visited the address, there was no sign of a functioning water tanker business. Both the leasing officer and security staff were unaware of the company's presence. Unofficially, Newtonox is linked to a residential property on Ulap Street in Roodepoort. This information surfaced because Newtonox submitted a lease agreement for this address in its bid. Yet upon inspection, the location showed no signs of business activity, only a locked gate, 2 aggressive dogs, and a broken intercom. The property owner denied any connection to Newtonox. The addresses are crucial because Johannesburg Water evaluated bids using a 90/10ths scoring system, with 90 points for price and 10 points for other criteria. 6 points for being based in Johannesburg, 2 for being in Gauteng, and 2 for being a black-owned business with a turnover under 10 million rand. Newtonox's disputed Waterfall Estate and Roodepoort addresses helped it score 8 out of 10 points, and lost 2 points because it has a higher turnover. Sibuyile Magingsa is the sole director of Newtonox's. While he claims to rent the Roodepoort property, his Facebook page suggests he resides in Umtata, Eastern Cape. Notably, Newtonox appears to have significant political ties. On the 1st of September 2023, a day after the Johannesburg water tender closed, Thembile Magingsa, president of the South African National Military Veterans Association, SAN-MVA, and former MK member, joined as a director. Thembile has historical ties to the Guptas and was a strong supporter of former President Jacob Zuma. The exact relationship between Thembile and Sibuyile is unclear, potentially familial. Thembile's tenure at Newtonox was brief. Records show he resigned as director 3 months later, leaving Sibuyile in charge, just as Johannesburg Water selected Newtonox as one of the winning bidders. BuiltPro Construction, much like Newtonox, is challenging to trace. Amabungane visited its registered address at 257 Oxford Road in Ilovo, only to learn from security guards that the company had moved a few months earlier. Similar to Newtonox, BuiltPro used this address to gain additional points during the tender evaluation, even though its presence there was brief. Interestingly, until April 2023, BuiltPro and Newtonox both listed the same questionable address, One Country Estate Drive in Midrand, raising suspicions of a potential link between the two companies. A diligent evaluation could have flagged this as a sign of possible collusion, but no such concerns were noted in the 400-page bid adjudication report obtained through a Promotion of Access to Information Act request. On paper, BuiltPro appears capable of supplying 30 tankers daily to Johannesburg's northern regions, including Sandton, Midrand, Hamburg, and Randburg. The company also had experience, having previously secured 2 short-term contracts with Johannesburg Water, a 3-month contract in 2022 and a more significant 40 million rand 6-month contract in 2023. BuiltPro's website claims the company offers a range of services, including construction, plant hire, fuel supply, fiber installation, and water services, catering to various private and public sector clients. However, its sole director, 27-year-old Emmanuel Serufusa, has been evasive. At the Ilovo address, security staff revealed that BuiltPro had previously shared an office with Zolicet, another bidder for the same tender. This aligned with claims from a source who initially flagged the tender for investigation. BuiltPro and Nutinox seem to have gotten their first significant opportunities in the Eastern Cape, the home province of both Emmanuel Serufusa and Sibuyile Magingsa. According to a source, BuiltPro Construction secured a fiber installation contract in 2018 and later, during the COVID-19 pandemic, obtained a 1.7 million rand contract to supply PPE to the Eastern Cape Department of Education. Similarly, Sibuyile Magingsa capitalized on COVID-related procurement through another of his companies, M&S Traffic Services, which received a 1.1 million rand contract to supply thermometers, sanitizers and masks to the Nelson Mandela Bay municipality. This contract attracted scrutiny from the Hawks over a 70,000 rand overpayment, but no action was ultimately taken against Magingsa. Nutinox, on the other hand, has been expanding its business scope. Records from the government's central supplier database indicate that it operates in the accommodation and food services sector. In 2024, the company began securing contracts in other municipalities, including a deal with the Rand West local municipality to clean up sewer spills, and another with the Oudtshoorn municipality to provide high-pressure jetting machines, vacuum water tankers, and camera inspections for sewer and stormwater pipelines. Despite these ventures, these contracts are minor compared to the scale and significance of the Johannesburg water tender recently awarded to Nutinox and BuiltPro. It's important to understand why BuiltPro and Nutinox were hired. In a city of 5 million people, water tankers play a critical role in providing clean drinking water when taps run dry. Over the next 3 years, Johannesburg's water crisis is expected to intensify, and the responsibility to step in and deliver will fall on BuiltPro and Nutinox. But are these companies prepared for the challenge? When Johannesburg Water advertised its 3-year water tanker tender in July 2023, it aimed to appoint a panel of service providers to avoid relying on a single company. However, instead of selecting multiple bidders from the 92 submissions, Johannesburg Water chose just 2, BuiltPro for the northern region and Nutinox for the south, placing the city's water supply in the hands of only these 2 firms. This decision carries significant risks, especially during a crisis where backup capacity is essential. In their proposals, both companies claimed they had sufficient tankers to meet the tender's requirements. BuiltPro offered 50 tankers, exceeding the tender's demand of 30 for the north, while Nutinox promised 61 tankers, surpassing the 40 needed in the south. The bid adjudication committee confidently noted that the contract would provide 70 required tankers, plus an additional 41 for emergency use. However, neither BuiltPro nor Nutinox appears to own any water tankers. Instead, they rely on hiring vehicles and securing their availability, a gamble for a city in crisis. The tender allowed companies to bid with hired tankers, a practice that often increases costs as middlemen add their markup while contributing little operational value. To address this, Johannesburg Water required bidders using hired tankers to submit letters of intent from suppliers, guaranteeing the tanker's availability within 21 days of the contract award. Despite this requirement, concerns remain about whether BuiltPro and Nutinox can deliver on their promises. Investigation indicates that both BuiltPro and Nutinox plan to lease some of their water tankers from Astron Fleet, a spin-off of Aqua Transport and Plant Hire, which owns the largest water tanker fleet in South Africa. Aqua Transport is owned by Durban businessman Kevin Naker, who has been implicated in allegations of collusive tendering and corruption. In April 2021, Johannesburg Waters Board cut ties with Aqua, as well as Aqua Bulk, which is owned by Kevin's brother, Donovan Naker. Subsequently, water tankers previously owned by Aqua were transferred to Astron Fleet, which Donovan controls. At least 8 tankers owned by Astron are listed among those Biltpro and Newtonox intend to hire. This isn't the only questionable connection between the two little-known Eastern Cape companies and the notorious Aqua Group. The low-profile house in Ulap Street, previously linked to Newtonox, is owned by Serena and Sugendran Ramzane, and was, until recently, the address of another water tanker business, Kukulu Plant Hire. In 2023, Johannesburg Water awarded a 6-month R69 million emergency water tanker contract to both Biltpro and Kukulu. While Kukulu also bid for the recent 3-year tender, it was eliminated in the final round. During this period, Kukulu moved out of the Ulap Street property, and Newtonox supposedly moved in. Yet no official report raised questions about why 2 supposedly competing bidders were operating out of the same address. Despite the numerous red flags, the bid adjudication report reveals that Newtonox and Biltpro were ultimately deemed the cheapest bidders. But were they really? Out of the 92 companies that bid for Joburg's R263 million water tanker tender, 12 advanced to the final round, where they were evaluated on price. However, this is where the tender process takes an unconventional turn. Biltpro and Newtonox's rates of R2,502 and R2,525 respectively appeared far lower than the incumbents. LTC Holdings R3,563 and Rampserve R3,143. Yet these figures represent a blend of normal rates, charge per kiloliter, and emergency rates, charge per hour, combined over 3 years, creating a single composite figure used for evaluation. When these figures are separated, Biltpro's R80 per kiloliter ranks 8th out of 12 bidders, and Newtonox's R81.20 ranks 9th, well behind Rampserve's R65 and LTC's R75 per kiloliter. These per kiloliter rates are significant, as Johannesburg Water estimates that 90% of the contract will involve delivering 2,150,600 kiloliters of water as part of its regular operations, equivalent to approximately 140,000 tanker loads. Conversely, only 10% of the contract pertains to emergency water deliveries, which are billed per hour. Here, Biltpro and Newtonox offered the most competitive rates, R300 per hour, compared to Rampserve R360 per hour and LTC R400 per hour. The decision to award the contracts to Biltpro and Newtonox faced significant pushback. The general manager of finance opposed the move, pointing out a 28% cost increase from the initial estimates and a 20% rise compared to the current deviation contract. Despite these concerns, Johannesburg Water proceeded with the awards. The contracts, signed with Biltpro and Newtonox in July 2024, were structured as and when required, leaving open the possibility that the R263 million estimate could escalate further. In 2023, the city awarded a smaller R43 million water tanker contract to LTC Holdings and Rampserve Consulting, which runs until February 2026. Both companies also competed for the larger R263 million tender set to run until mid-2027. LTC has taken legal action, seeking a court ruling that the tender had expired before being awarded to Biltpro and Newtonox. The company argues the award was unconstitutional and should be overturned. LTC claims that the tender's validity period, initially set at 90 days, was improperly extended multiple times, first from December 2023 to February 2024, then to April and finally to May. According to LTC's director David Lasito, this resulted in an irregularity. David stated in his affidavit, noting that the extensions totaled 241 days, far exceeding the original 90-day validity. David further contends that LTC's exclusion from the tender award was another irregularity, as the company submitted a fully compliant bid and was one of the highest scoring contenders. The bid adjudication report reveals that LTC's rate of 75 Rand per kiloliter for routine deliveries was more competitive than BuiltPro's 80 Rand per kiloliter and Newtonox's 81.20 Rand per kiloliter. However, LTC lost points due to its higher emergency rate of 400 Rand per hour compared to the 300 Rand per hour offered by the winning bidders. Lesotho also criticized Johannesburg Water for taking months to publish the list of winning bidders. The case is scheduled for a hearing in January 2025, but with the 263 million Rand tender under dispute, the city's already strained water supply situation may worsen further.